Hello and welcome to This Week in Privacy. My name's Alexis Katafidis and here are your regulatory highlights from this week. On the 4th of May, the Californians for Consumer Privacy announced that it is submitting over 900,000 signatures to qualify the California Privacy Rights Act for the November 2020 ballot. The CPRA adds a number of rights and requirements to the CCPA, including the creation of the California Privacy Protection Agency, tasked with enforcing the CCPA and guiding both consumers and companies alike, as well as new protections around sensitive personal information and requirements around transparency regarding the existence of and logic behind automated decision-making and profiling. According to Californians for Consumer Privacy, recent polling suggested that 88% would vote yes to support a ballot measure expanding privacy protections for personal information. Also on the 4th of May, the European Data Protection Board adopted updated guidelines on consent under the GDPR in order to provide clarifications regarding the use of cookie walls, as well as on the issue of consent in relation to the scrolling or swiping through a web page. The guidelines state that a service provider cannot prevent data subjects from accessing a service on the basis that they do not consent, and that access to services and functionalities must not be made conditional on the consent of a user to the placement of cookies in his or her terminal equipment. Furthermore, the guidelines find that scrolling or swiping through a web page or similar user activity will not satisfy the requirement of a clear and affirmative action, since it may be difficult to distinguish such actions from other activity or interaction of the user. The guidelines highlight that consent under the GDPR must always be given through an active motion or declaration, and that it must be obvious that the data subject has consented to the specific processing activity. Several US senators recently announced plans to introduce a bill for the COVID-19 Consumer Data Protection Act. The bill includes requirements for companies under the jurisdiction of the FTC to obtain affirmative express consent from individuals to collect, process, or transfer certain data, including personal health and geolocation, for the purposes of tracking the spread of COVID-19. The bill would also require companies to disclose how consumers' personal data will be collected and used, and to provide rights to opt out and delete or de-identify personal data when it's no longer being used for the coronavirus emergency. That's all for this week in privacy. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week.